Hey, welcome back to another episode of Life's Necessities and Luxuries. I'm your host, Dawn Marie Mutel, and I just want to say thank you for being here. I'm really excited because I just raring to just do some fun things this weekend that, I may have to do a lot of work stuff, but I want to squeeze in some fun. So I'm hoping that you can do the same for your weekend and that you get to really explore, do something different. So today I'm going to share 5 easy tips for you to get your skin looking great, feeling great, and glowing like the sun. All right, here we go. Skin is one of the largest organs on our bodies. It's like covers us from head to toe, right? We can't avoid it. And we put it through a lot, frankly speaking, right? We kind of go through a lot of it. The sun, the winds, there's harsh chemicals we put on our bodies every day, every time we take a shower, every time we use another body lotion or a body spray or a perfume or a makeup. We have so many chemicals that get leaked into our body, and our pores do, soak in that stuff. So a friend of mine said, you have really good skin. What do you use? And I try not to use too many different chemicals. I try to stick with things that are nature-based. I know it's pretty hard to not avoid because like most things have chemicals in it. If you look, at the back of the ingredients, and you can't even read them because they're so tiny, you could barely read the name of the color on the product, right? Because they make those labels so damn tiny you can barely see it. But one of the first things is to just keep your skin clean, right? You want to make sure that you're not over stripping and cleaning because too much can strip all the oils in the skin and make it really dry. So if you have dry skin, I would stay away from that. I'm going to cover a couple of the different skin types so that if you find that you don't know what your skin type is, maybe by me explaining some of them, you can say, yes, this is me, this is what I have. So let's just start with the different skin types. And the first one is normal. And that just means just that it's normal. There's no problems. You don't really get a breakout. You don't have a lot of oily shininess or any flakiness in your skin. Now, you can have dry skin, which is what I have, and I have to always keep it moisturized. So if you have dry skin, you may find it to feel scratchy or itchy, and you just may feel that it's just not soft and supple. You may want to start intaking more water because usually that's a sign that we're not hydrating the way we should. So if you find that your skin is very dry, start drinking a lot of water. You're going to start to really see a difference within a day or two. It happens that fast. It's like when you're watering a plant that's kind of like wilting and it's like, oh, help me. And then you give it some water and the next day she's like, woohoo, I'm bounced back and the plant's looking great, right? We're kind of the same way. So I'm going to cover the skin types before I go into some of the tips. Okay, so now if you have oily skin, it's just the opposite of dry, right? So now it's just a lot of oil production through the skin. You may have very oily skin, and you may also have oily hair because the glands are they're all kind of connected. And so that they would be very, producing a lot of oils. So if that's the case, you definitely want to take action towards getting some of that oil at bay. So there you can start using some more toners and things. The other thing is if you have combination skin, which is another thing that I kind of go with myself. It's like you can have the T-zone, which is your forehead, your nose, and your chin. They could be oily and your cheeks could be dry. So a good way to test is to take your forefinger, put it by your ear, and then drag it across your skin. If it's nice and smooth, then you probably have normal skin and you don't have any dryness. But if it starts to go like that, skips a little bit across the face, then you may have dry skin. You also, if you have oily skin, if you go like this, in those areas and you have oil on your tip of your finger, then you have oily skin. And so you may want to think about using specific products for any type of skin you have. So whether you have dry skin or oily skin or even combination skin, you want to make sure that you're using the right cleansers. I'm going to talk about cleansers in a minute, but because that's the first tip is keeping your skin clean. But I just want to finish the skin types. Now, you may also have sensitive skin, which is another thing that I battle myself. And that's why when I wind up working with Clinique, in their marketing department, I started using more and more of their products, which I had used as a kid when I was a teenager, but just like mascara and lip glosses, because my sister actually wound up working there like 20 years before me. And so she would give me the samples, and I always loved it because it didn't make my skin break out. And I've had something to deal with all my life, is like if it's too much chemical, too much fragrance, I'll break out. So if you find that your skin is breaking out, it could be from the fragrance of the product. So you may want to start like removing a couple and see if your skin clears up, and then like reintroduce it and see if it aggravates it again, because then you'll know for sure that it's that product. Especially a lot of products that have silicone in them, where they're just super, super slippery, that could clog your pores very easily. So like even if you're using primers, that could also make your skin break out. So if you find that you are breaking out, you may want to, look at those factors. Also, if you have acne skin, that means, you're susceptible to blemishes and breakouts. There may be some scarring on the face from previous breakouts in the past. There are ways that you can lighten some of those dark spots. But I also want you to think about, what do you eat every day, right? So, because what they say, what we are, what we eat. So let's just take a quick look at what your diet looks like. I mean, are you eating just like, chips and sodas and junk food and fast food? Or are you eating a lot of vegetables and, protein and keeping things clean? What we put in sometimes reflects in our skin, and especially this stuff like sugar. Everything has sugar these days, right? You try to find a healthy fruit juice at the store, and there's sugar in it, 26 grams, 23 grams of sugar. You're like, what? So if you're looking for sweets, then try to have like natural fruits that you bought yourself and that you juiced yourself, because you'll know that you're not putting in any additional sugars, and you'll just get what the natural fruit has, which is going to be a lot more healthy and will be able to digest through your system a lot better. So think about some of those things. Now, if you love French fries and fried foods and sugary drinks and sugary foods, they're going to wreak havoc on the skin, and you're going to start to see that. Now, it can happen in a couple of ways. You may just get a lot of acne from it, or you could get a lot of dryness and get more fine lines on your face and things like that, because the sugar kind of takes away the water from the skin. And our skin is like 6 layers, I think it is, down deep. And so we want to get the skin cells that are all the way underneath, right? So we have to get through all those different layers. So like I said, drinking a lot of water and getting any kind of water content fruits, like watermelon. Right now we're in season for some watermelon, right? So have a watermelon drink, or have some pieces of fresh cut watermelon for lunch or a snack, or, in the evening when you want that chip, go for a piece of fruit. It just helps crave the sugar craving. And the more vegetables we eat and the more plant foods we eat, then we'll start to wean our bodies off of that sugar feeling. Like, again, I got to have that sugar. So that's been one of my issues I had to redo, because I didn't touch sugar for years. Like, I wasn't really a person who loved sugar. I liked, desserts. Yeah, a good dessert from, French pastry shop or something is amazing. But it wasn't like I was eating it every day, and it was just basically a special occasion kind of thing. But then, with my friend, we would just eat more, sugar and candies and watching, movies and eating Twizzlers and stuff like that. And it's like, whoa, now I was craving sugar again. And I'm like, oh, what the heck did I do? Because that was not the case before, right? So it's hard to wean yourself off, but it can be done. You just have to start giving yourself the good foods to substitute it for the bad ones, and then you'll be good to go. Okay, so those are your skin types. That's how you can replenish some water immediately into the skin to start plumping up those skin cells, make them look happy and like that watering plant. Just remember the watering plant. You got to water the plant, okay? So otherwise you're going to kill the plant. So we're going to do the same thing with our skin. And so another thing is just like I said, keeping it clean. So if you are using a regular soap bar like that you put on your body in the shower and you wash your face with it every day, please stop immediately. Put the bar down, okay? Because that is one of the first things that's going to ruin your skin, because the soap that's made for the body is totally different than something that you should use on the skin, on the face, which is really, really sensitive. I like to say, you know, the body is kind of like a pair of denim jeans, and then the face is like a silk blouse, okay? It's handled with care. So think about some ways that, you know, you may be doing things now that you don't even know, like if you're just rubbing it really hard or you're exfoliating your skin like 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. Stop, because even exfoliation is going to ruin the skin, and it can cause breakouts and a lot of havoc. So if you don't know what exfoliation is, it's when you start to remove the dead skin cells off the skin. And you could do it a couple different ways. You could use like a loofah scrub with, I like using some lavender with some sea salt and some olive oil, and then you can just, you know, buff your skin. You do it in a circular motion, and then you rinse it off. You can do your whole body. Just with the face, don't use that on the face. It's good for the body. On the face, you want to use something that has a very, very mild granular so that it's not too rough on the skin. And so I know Clinique had a good one. It was great because you didn't have to worry about breakouts, and it was also very fine. But you can use anything. You just want to make sure, like, test it on your skin on the back of your hand before you stick it on your face, because you don't want to see a reaction there, right? So that's one of the things. Another way is to just use any kind of like peels. Sometimes you can find, even if you use like stuff like pineapple, you know, papaya, they have these enzymes in there. So that helps with, and also milk can help with that as well. So, you know, the milk and honey facial, right? So milk is really great for the skin. It has a lot of calming properties in it. So it really helps. So if your feet, or, you know, you want a nice soft, you want to soften your skin, like a bathing basin filled with warm water and some milk in there can really soften the skin, but you got to let it soak for about 20 minutes or so. And then just use a callus, pumice stone, and then you can remove the, you know, any excess callus on the feet and things like that. Especially now, we got to have our tootsies nice and looking pretty, right? Because we're going to be out there at the beach, the pool, wearing flip-flops and all that stuff again. So, and flip-flops are the worst on feet because it just automatically brings up calluses on the back of the feet or on, you know, the big toe there. It's just, it wreaks havoc. So if I love flip-flops, and if you're a flip-flop kind of gal or guy, it's actually going to do some stuff. So make sure you keep that pumice stone handy every time you're in the shower. Just give them a buff, and you'll start to see like they won't grow so fast, and you'll be keeping on top of them. And then make sure that you just give them a good moisturizer every time you get out of the shower, okay? So speaking of moisturizer, that's your next step. It's like you want to keep the skin really moisturized. Now, my mom, you know, she taught me at a very young age that, you know, I should always put on moisturizer on my skin after a bath and shower. So I started doing that at an early age, and I'm glad I did, because it just made me realize, like, oh, we do have to take care of the whole body. It's not just, oh, we shower, we go. If you do that, you may find your skin gets a little bit more dry because it didn't have the proper time to get that moisture and to just pump up those skin cells and keep it from flaking and getting dry and itchy, right? So, but you want to find the right moisturizer for your face, because if you don't, then you're going to be doing the same thing. It's like you're using that bar soap on your face and you're causing more havoc than good. So be sure that the moisturizer, you know, there's really heavy moisturizers, and then there are thinner moisturizers. So if you have oily skin, don't think that you don't need moisturizer, because in fact, you do definitely still need to have a moisturizer. So look at the Clinique, the DDML for oily skin. It's their dramatically different moisturizing lotion. They have one for oily skin, and it's really great. And everybody who has oily skin has always loved it. I did a lot of work at the counter before I left the wedding makeup industry in New York and moved to Tampa. So yeah, definitely look into that. And I'm not a fan of the yellow for regular skin because I found that it was too light for like the dry skin. So I went to their repair wear line, which was a little bit more moisturizing, and I found that that was really good. So if you wanted something for dry skin, look at the repair wear line. But if you don't want to spend that kind of money, you can easily find something very similar at a CVS or a Sephora or what have you. But again, try to find something, even if you have sensitive skin, make sure you're finding something that doesn't have fragrance. I love the Neutrogena lines. I use their, their sunblocks and stuff like that. They'd never really make me break out. And they don't, they're a fraction of the cost of what it costs. And I hate to say it because I worked with them, but I also know what the markup was like as well. So, I just believe whatever works for you will work. It doesn't have to be pricey. And like you said, you could do stuff that's natural moisturizing. Like I like to do, I use coconut oil, olive oil, you can use almond oil. And they're just really great ways to just, get a good soak into the skin. If you want to do some deep, conditioning, then you can heat the oil up. Just test it, with your finger and test it in the inside of your wrist to make sure that it's not too hot. And you can like put your hands in there and then put some gloves on and wrap them up. And you'll just be like, pamper city, right? You could just take care of it and have a great time. And when they come out, they're just nice and soft and ready to go. So you want to make sure you always clean your skin. You want to make sure you always moisturize your skin, and that's from head to toe. Okay, don't skip the body part because it's so important, because it's all connected. And don't you want your honey to touch and say, "Oh, honey, your skin feels so soft today," and you can say, "Oh, thank you, sweetie pie, because I'm just taking good care of it." Now, every day we walk out of the house, whether it's sunny or if it's cloudy, the sun is out shining, and those rays, those UV rays, are really they wreak havoc on our skin. So wear SPF, and the higher number, the better. And don't think that if you're using a cosmetic that has an SPF of 15, and then you have your other one that's SPF, 15, that it's going to equal 30. Doesn't work that way. So try to find, I like to use 50 or higher. Like I said, I love the Neutrogena brand. They have one that's for the face. And, I go with 100 because you know what, why not have 100 times protection? Because the sun today is just really, really strong. And another thing is just wear a hat. I mean, I'm a big fan of hats, because I just don't want to do my hair. I can tell you the truth. And the other thing is, it's a great way to shield those rays a little bit off your skin. So think about that. And also, I think I'm going to start wearing the driving gloves when I drive, because I noticed that the sun is always coming through the windows on the hands, and the hands are always the first to show age because they get the most abuse, right? They're always doing something. They're in water, they're in this, and they're in dirt, they're this and that, and cleaning and products and blah, 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 blah. So I love that Paris Hilton wears her gloves. And I always said, I would wear that, but I used to feel like, oh, people are going to look at me like I'm a freak. It's like, yeah, I guess I am. But covering the skin when you're outside, if you know that you're going to be out at the beach for a long time and you have fair skin and you burn easily, even wearing, I like wearing the surf shirts that kind of block out some of those rays. They're made for that too, which is really great to keep the sun from burning the shoulders, especially if you want to hang out in the water all day. Like when I'm at the beach, I want to be in the water most of my day, because it's like, well, why am I at the beach, right? I want to swim, I want to work out, I want to have fun. So you want to think about at least once a week where you give yourself a really good clean, okay, in the skin. So one of the things is I finally was able to find this very affordable steamer, and it's a tabletop steamer. It was like $25 on Amazon. I think actually it's called Lnnl, and it's a nano ionic facial cleanser. I'm sorry, the light is kind of bouncing off of the white there, but I got it on Amazon. It's really easy to use, and it's just a couple of pieces. I'm not going to take it out and everything right now, but it's very simple to use. Again, it was like 25 bucks. And the only thing is you can't put any fragrances in there, which I was a little disappointed with. So what I do is instead I'll just mist my face with the scent of what I want, and then have the steam come out that way. But you want to get inside of the pores, because when the pores start to enlarge, it's because the dirt gets trapped in there and it starts to separate it. So if you can keep your pores as clean as possible, that's going to keep your skin looking, clear from the pores and stuff like that. Now it's inevitable, we walk outside, there's tons of cars and emissions and buses, and there's pollution and there's stuff in the air that we can't really we can't help it, right? Because it's there. So one of the great things about wearing the SPF on your face is that you're actually giving yourself another layer of protection from grime and dirt getting onto your skin. So think about that when you walk outside. So cleansing it once a week, giving yourself a really good mask to help with it. So if you have dry skin, then maybe you want a nice moisturizing cleansing mask. If you have oily skin, then you may want to get like a clay mask that kind of pulls out some of the oils, because clay can be very drying. If you have dry skin, I would stay away from the clay masks because they are more drying. But look for even the salicylic acids or anything like that, but be sure that the concentration is very low, because you don't want to burn your skin with the acid, because if you have really sensitive skin like I do, you can get burned, my friend. I've had it happen. It's not fun, and it definitely leaves a scar. So don't do it, and stay away from it. And just, even if you go to a facialist to do it for you professionally, you got to check with them too. If they're novices and they're still like new in the industry, they may be trying things just to see what happens, but try to find somebody who's really reputable when it comes to that. And if they're going to start doing extractions, especially, you don't want them scarring your face. I had an incident once with a girl. I could tell she was new, and I just stopped her in the middle of it. I was like, hold the phone, stop it now. And she's like, what? And I was like, that's okay, we're good, thank you so much. And I knew like I didn't have much, because I know how to take care of my skin, and I have a magnifying mirror, so I know what's going on in the face. And that's another thing you want to have, is a magnifying mirror. It really helps to see what's what. And sometimes I hate to see what's what because it shows everything. But we definitely need to see what's happening with our skin, right? Because it's just one of those things we don't really get to check. We look in the mirror, we're like, oh, okay, but we really need to see what's going on. So you want to keep a good weekly routine of cleansing the skin, and you want to clean your skin once in the morning and then once in the evening. And as I said, don't use the soap unless you're going to use like a Neutrogena or a Clinique soap that's made for the face or your skin type, then that's fine. But I like the cleansing milks. They're very gentle on the skin. The cleansing oils are nice, but if you have oily skin, you obviously want to stay away from that. But if you have dry skin, it's actually pretty good, because especially at nighttime, it gives it some extra moisture to the skin while you're sleeping. And all of the treatment products should be used at night before you go to bed, because that's when they're going to work while you're sleeping, because all of the skin cells turn over while you sleep, and they shed. We shed like thousands of skin cells a night. So it's important that I mentioned earlier about the exfoliation, because even though we shed skins, sometimes the dead skin layers start to pile up, and that can cause a bunch of different things on the body as well. So you may find, you may get bumpy skin, or you may find that you're just getting different kinds of things going on with the skin because it's not breathing properly. Okay, since it is a living thing, it does breathe, and if we put too much product on it, or we cover it up too much, it can't breathe anymore. So it can cause some problems. So if you find that even if you're wearing a lot of makeup, let's say, maybe your skin is reacting to that and you don't know why, because you've just been doing it so long, but it could be because you're just not giving it a chance to breathe. So I would just say, stay away from heavy makeup for like a couple of weeks and give your skin a couple of a good chance to just start to relax a little bit and say, oh, I can breathe again. Use a tinted moisturizers, or use tinted light foundations rather than anything heavy and clogging. Or stay away from primers if you're using a lot of primers, because again, your skin is not breathing. So it may look beautiful and flawless and look fantastic, but it also may be causing some havoc that you're not aware of, and then it just may surface later. So just be careful, especially if you have a sensitive skin. Then you may find that you may have some more of those issues. And I mentioned earlier, with the sugars, to just eat fresh fruits and those veggies, because, even if you can make yourself a couple of veggie juices throughout the week, it's going to you can throw in some fresh fruit in there and give it that sweetness, so that it feels like it's a dessert more than just, oh my gosh, not the green juice. I learned how to make some fun recipes over the years. I love my juicer, but it's really loud. So I just started blending stuff and it's so much faster. It's so much easier. The cleanup is easier. So if you're tired of cleaning up the juicers and it's just, it sounded like I was on the back of a freaking, a speedboat. It was like, ah! I'm like, and I want to do this at 5 o'clock in the morning and I don't want to wake up my neighbors because I want to juice something. So I'm trying to be respectful of my neighbors, but so I blend and I try to make, and you can always make a batch. It can last throughout the week. It won't last more than that. So what you have to do is you can make a batch and then freeze it. And I like to do individual, cups, and then I freeze them in those containers so that I can take one and then the night before I can stick it in the fridge so that in the morning time it's ready to go. I didn't have to spend the time in the morning trying to do all that crap because I don't have the time in the morning to do all that crap. So do it, if you do it on a Sunday morning, it's done and you're ready for the week. And that's the way to start the week, right? Is like having the crap done and ready to go. And that's another thing. If you have children, you got to get them prepared and everything else. You have to like find a way to do the cooking. If you can make the meals, do a bunch of meals that you can make Sunday morning or Saturday night if you're not going out and you're home. Do the cooking, sort things out, put them in the freezer, stuff, put stuff away. Do not eat, put labels on so the kids know they're not supposed to eat it. Because I had an incident with that one time. So let's not go there. I will digress. So anyway, think about your veggies, your fruits, and all that good stuff. But you also want to think about just try to use less product on your face. Our faces get used to stuff. It's a really weird thing. Like if you start wearing a lot of makeup, let's say you were really natural and you didn't ever wear makeup, and then you started wearing a lot of makeup for many years. And then when you take it off and you look at yourself, you're like, what the heck? It's because you wore so much makeup that it kind of like gets used to wearing the makeup. It's like, so try to stay as natural as you can. That's why I say use a tinted moisturizer. Don't go with a heavy foundation. I mean, unless it's a special event and you're going out dancing into a club where you need a little bit more heaviness so that, because, with the lights and everything, you want to be seen, things like that. That makes more sense. And, having some supplements doesn't hurt. I'm a firm believer in trying to get the supplements out of the fruit and the greens that we eat so that, we're getting it naturally rather than having something else that's processed. But I do believe that we should have those extra supplements as well. So if you find that, maybe you're feeling sluggish or you're tired and you don't feel right, and you don't feel like energized, then you may want to start just doing some water with lemon and some apple cider vinegar, and it's almost like it's restarting the metabolism. It's kind of cleansing the inside. It will help, get rid of any of the sluggish, stuff, because we get sludge in our bodies, believe it or not, because we got this whole tract of system with the stomach and everything. So when we eat crappy food, then it takes a long time to process through our bodies. And that's why we get tired. That's why we have, when we eat sugar, 20 minutes later, you start crashing. It's because, we took an insulin spike, it shot us up, and it's like, out of a cannonball. We're like, woohoo. And then back down you go. And so you want to be careful with all of those types of things, especially if you have any sensitivities. Some people have food sensitivities. They don't even know that they're having food sensitivities. So I just wanted to touch base on the acne because I said earlier I would touch base on that. If you are breaking out, you may want to stay away from the following things, like stay away from anything that has to do with obviously with the sugar, but also the fried foods. And then you want to make sure that also dairy can exacerbate acne. So if you love yogurts and you drink a lot of milk, maybe try using almond milk or oat milk instead of the dairy. And then for the, I had started picking up the cashew yogurt, which was pretty cool. Whole Foods has it, Trader Joe's I think also has it, or the goat milk yogurt that Trader Joe's has. And you can still have the dairy without having the lactose that comes from the cows, because the cow's milk, there's a lot of antibiotics that come out of, because the cows are, they feed them the antibiotics. And so their hormones and antibiotics are coming through the milk. And so that can cause a lot of stuff in the skin, especially with the hormones. And so we don't need any extra hormones. We got enough of them. So let's not add some more, right? And those are just a couple of tips that you can start with right now to get started to, like, clean up the skin, get it looking bright and beautiful and glowing again, and give it some TLC and some love and attention, and, take care of the top and the bottom and even the backside. Don't forget you got a backside too. We don't just have the front side, we have a backside. And that's the problem too. I know it's hard to get to the backside. So I've invested in, the long brush hand, it's got the brush, and one has a long loofah, the long handle, so you can go like this. I even found a back scratcher, Dollar Tree store, which is groovy when you've got that itch and you can't scratch it because you're alone and you don't want to go on a wall to start scratching. So that little back scratcher, right? Okay, so that's it. So now you're on your way to healthy, clean, happy skin that looks great, that feels great, and you're going to like what you see in the mirror. And just, I always say adding a little bit of makeup goes a really long way. And I'm not saying be a slave to makeup, because Lord knows I ain't going to spend all that time doing the makeup. No, got no time to do that. So I do a quick makeup. Even when I get on camera, I do quick makeup runs because I want to look presentable, but I don't want to be a slave to it. And I don't believe anybody should be a slave to anything. So you want to cleanse, you want to moisturize, you want to watch what you eat, you want to give it some TLC, give it a once a week, good deep cleansing and a mask. Then do some exfoliation. You could do that once a week. Don't do it more than that, because you don't want to strip the oils off the skin. Even if you have oily skin, you don't want to strip it, because it's just going to cause more problems. Okay, so that is it, my friends. I hope that these tips help you. If you like this video, please say below and let me know, and let us know that you enjoyed it. If there's anything else you want me to talk about, just let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already joined us over at the Facebook group, please come to facebook.com/groups/life's necessities and luxuries. And let's keep the conversation going over there. Okay, so stay well, stay safe, and remember to live happily, lovingly, luxuriously, and necessarily. Until the next time, bye for now.